Did you ever wonder how a builder knows how much they're gonna profit on a deal? Let me teach you all of the rules. I've used this exact strategy to develop over 1,000 lots to date, residential, and build over 200 homes to date. I'm Arthur, the developer. Let's go break this down and let's go run the numbers. Step number one, you've got to find yourself a lot to build on, and not just any lot, not just raw land. You want to make sure it's buildable. So what is a buildable lot? Number one, you've got to have the utilities. Sewer, water, power are the main three components that you need. The question becomes, is your sewer private or is your sewer public? If it's private, you got to put a septic on the lot. If it's public, you've got to find out where is the sewer located so you can connect to it. Number two, water. Is it private or public? If it's private, you got to get a well. If it's public, same thing. Where is the water line sitting so I can connect to it? And then power. You obviously want to have lights in your home, so you want to find out where power is. That's number one. Number two, making sure it's a buildable lot is the zoning. Make sure it's zoned residential so you can build yourself a home. Sometimes it's zoned for a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, where you can build more than one unit on that lot. And so that zoning is extremely important. And now you have yourself a buildable lot. We're gonna jump to step two. Step number two is underwriting. With finding the land, we've already started the underwriting process by making sure it's buildable. But during the underwriting process, you wanna locate where those utilities are at. You want to make sure there is no slope, and if there is slope, what is the cost? So you can meet with your contractor and find out how much is it to build on this project if there's some slope. And then the third component is you want to make sure the numbers pencil. So in the underwriting process, there is three things that I look out for when I'm running the numbers. Number one, I look at the values. How much would this sell for? Number two, I look at the construction cost. How much can I build this for? And number three, based on that, usually the land is within 20% or less of the value of the project. So if this duplex is worth $1 million, I should be paying roughly $200,000 or less for the land. And on the construction side of things, it depends on if you're in the West Coast, East Coast, or Midwest. Typically it's ranging from anywhere from $100 to $180 per square foot. So I do my underwriting. If I'm on the West Coast, it's 150s. If I'm in Texas areas, it's in the hundreds. And if I'm in, again, more like the Southeast area, it's in the 120s, 130s. And so you're able to underwrite and go, okay, this duplex is worth $1 million. My construction cost is $130 per square foot, plus I have to pay the builder a builder fee, and then my land, roughly 20%. Then you want to have that return on investment, which is called ROI. And that ROI, you want it to be at least 20%, preferably 25% on the total project. So on a $1 million sale, you want the project to cost roughly $700,000 to $750,000, so you can make anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000 gross profit. Step number three is going to be plans and design. Once you understand what you could build on the lot, your setbacks, and let's say you could build a duplex. Now the next step is to work with your architect or designer and start drawing up a plan set. Now, keep in mind, whatever other builders are building in the area that is actually selling and selling fairly quickly, use that same type of product and build it there. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and do something unique and different, especially if it's your first or second build. Do what's already working, and that way it's very profitable. So you start drawing up the plans, you get that done. Once you have the plan set drawn up, your architect is gonna work with your structural engineer. They're gonna put together a full plan set and an engineered plan set to make sure that the building stays up. Now, once you have this beautiful packet ready, the next step is gonna be step number four. So step number four is you've got a full submittal ready. It used to be you bring in physical copies to the permit center. Now everything's electronic and online. So the architect and the structural engineer will put together a full plan set. They'll get you a site plan showing exactly where the project is gonna be or where the building is gonna be located on the lot, etc. There's a whole checklist from the city or county. They submit it, and now you're waiting for permits to get approved. Depending on your jurisdiction, could take a day, like in St. John, Indiana, or it could take 6 months, like the city of Portland. And you'll get your permits, building permits ready to go. They're gonna get stamped. You're gonna pay for your permit fees and get ready to lock in that financing before we get to the build. Step number five, you wanna lock in your financing because you don't wanna pay cash for your entire build. Good news is, if you're building a personal house, guess what? You can put 5% down on the total cost. So let's say it's $1 million project value. You want it to cost around $700,000. You would only have to put 5% down of that $700,000. Within that $700,000, that includes the construction cost, the builder fee, and the land. So that's the beautiful piece of it. You're only putting $35,000 down on a $700,000 build with over 200 grand of equity. Plus the closing costs, typically that's title fees. If you have agents involved and whatnot, you're gonna spend another $10,000 on closing costs. So imagine you're coming in at $40,000 to $45,000 down on a project that's gonna have over $250,000 worth of equity. That's the personal house game. They're gonna look more at your finances. If you have a W-2, they're gonna look at your credit score. If you have a business, they're gonna look at the last 2 years of your tax returns and see what the income was. Now, if you wanna avoid all of that and you wanna just get into the investment game and go get a loan, whether you have bad credit or good credit, but you will need a little bit more money, hard money loans or private investment loans are the game. Now, typically on a private investment loan, you're putting around 15% down plus closing costs, which are gonna range from 3 to 5%. So let's say roughly 20% down. On a 700K project, you're putting around 140K to make around 250,000. Now, a couple things you wanna understand when you're working with the lender. The first is you've got term sheets. The term sheet is what the lender brings you, which is the offer. What is the loan going to include? What's the interest rate? What's the origination fee? What are the closing costs? How much of a loan are they gonna give you compared to the value? So one simple thing is like the origination fee. The origination fee is what the lender makes their fee on the deal. Typically on a hard money loan, you're gonna pay anywhere from 1% of the total loan up to 3% of that total loan. I'm currently paying 0.75 to 1%. If you're building for the first time or you're not a seasoned builder, you might be paying 2%, 2.5% plus or minus. So that's the hard money side of things. The difference between the two, once you get those, what you will need to lock in the financing is gonna be the plans, the budget, which your builder is gonna help you provide. You're gonna have the site plan, what it's gonna look like. And apart from that, you're ready to rock and roll, and they're gonna get you those term sheets, lock in the financing, and get ready to start building. Step number 6 is the construction. This is actually the easiest part. I like to call it adult babysitting. What you want to do is you want to hire a general contractor or builder that can build you a project for cost plus. Typically, I call them a spec home builder versus a custom home builder. Don't hire a custom home builder because what they're gonna do is they're gonna upcharge everything and you're gonna pay $300 a square foot versus a spec home builder that's gonna charge you at cost, so $150 a square foot, plus their fee on top. It could be a flat fee or a percentage. If it is a percentage, it's usually 8 to 15% on top of the cost. So if the project costs $400,000, a 10% fee would be $40,000. It's gonna cost you $440,000. If you go with a custom home builder, he's gonna build it for $700,000, but he makes $300,000 profit on top. So you wanna find builders that love to buy lots, build out a project and sell it. That's the kind of builder you wanna work with. I have seen builders across the entire nation that do spec and they do a builder fee. So it's a very common practice. It's just not usually it's not known to the public. It's more of investors buying land, bringing a builder in, building and selling, and now you can do it too. Step number 7. This is either you're moving into the home because it's your personal house. What's gonna happen is they're gonna verify everything's done correctly. You're gonna have your certificate of occupancy from the city or state or city or county, which means you can now live in the unit. And then once that's completed, the appraiser is gonna come out, verify it's all done, and boom, it's gonna float down to the current interest rate. And now you got a 30-year mortgage on a beautiful brand new home with equity. If you're selling it or you're renting it, you wrap up the home, you put it up for sale. Make sure you work with new construction agents. They specialize in these type of builds and they have a different type of client base. If you're gonna sell it or if you're gonna rent it, now you wanna rent it first, stabilize it, start collecting rent, and then go refinance it with a traditional bank, or there's other hard money lenders that are really competitive on their rates. If you're interested in this game, you like what you heard, maybe you're an investor, a flipper, a wholesaler, or you're not in the game at all, but you have some capital set aside and you wanna start building out projects, I have a mentorship program. For example, Ricky is building 5 houses and making over 600 grand of profit. Andrew's building 2 houses and making over 400 grand of profit. And I am helping dozens and dozens of students crush it across the nation. The entire 7-step process. I walk you through the entire thing. You have my personal contact information and help along the way. Hit that link below, book a call with my team. Looking forward to working with you.